Folks all set? Okay, excellent. Got the thumbs up. First, I want to thank you all for coming. It's been a busy day, been a busy past few days. We wanted to get together to thank the Inspector General for agreeing to undertake this independent inspection. We appreciate the speed with which the Inspector General has stepped in and accepted some of our recommendations and the seriousness with which this work will be carried out. That was clear this morning. A key benefit of this process is that it's going to allow us to learn and act in real time. And that was the most important thing I heard this morning. Rather than waiting for years for a report, we'll be getting recommendations as the work progresses and can begin implementing improvements right away. That matters because public confidence is built through action. People are going to need to see action quickly. I also want to acknowledge Chief Demkiw, who's here with me today. The Chief has been clear in his commitment to transparency, cooperation, and to doing the work that is going to be necessary, doing that work that is required to rebuild trust in our community. His leadership is going to be essential to recommendations coming forward and being implemented in as quick a process as possible. The board, meanwhile, is going to be focused on supporting the Inspector General's work. We will continue to work very closely with the Chief to ensure all necessary changes are made to support public safety in the community we serve. We're very excited to hear that an external inspector will be appointed, and we look forward to cooperating fully with that inspector. Now I want to turn it over to the Chief for an update.
Thank you, Chair, and please excuse my seasonal cold here. I'd like to begin where the Chair began and is acknowledge the Inspector General and thank the Inspector General for responding to our request to conduct an inspection. And as you all have heard, it is an inspection that is sector-wide. I did hear the Inspector General acknowledge the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police being present, and I think that's an important statement how police leaders feel about the need for the sector to work together to do everything we can to address the allegations that emanate from Project South, but importantly as a sector come together and prevent any types of occurrences of this nature from ever happening again. I'd also like to acknowledge that we have written to the Law Enforcement Complaints Agency, and I've been advised today that the Law Enforcement Complaints Agency, better known as LECA, is going to be taking responsibility for all allegations related to the Community Safety and Policing Act. This is an independent entity that will investigate the Police Act implications from the allegations that were announced last week and the ongoing investigation that is continuing to be led by the York Regional Police. I would also advise you that as of today, I'll be seeking the suspension without pay for 6 of the 7 members who have been alleged to have committed criminal offenses. We have also deployed additional supervision to where we need to. We're continuing to work to enhance the capacity of professional standards. And we are working to stand up a working group that will look at our internal processes, practices, and everything that we do to ensure that we're responding as quickly as we can, recognizing the work of the Inspector General may take some time. We will support that work completely, comprehensively, but we will not waste a moment to move forward in enhancing our capacity internally within the Toronto Police Service. And part of that work will include a seat at the table. Very importantly for our Toronto Police Association and our Senior Officers Organization. These 2 entities represent our members who are impacted by these allegations in a significant way. And we would like to make sure that the voices of our members throughout the ranks are present at the table as we move forward collectively together to do everything we can to safeguard our systems, our processes and practices, and continue to deliver the excellent work that the vast majority of Toronto Police members deliver each and every day in the City of Toronto. With that, I think we'll take some questions.
Chief Demkiw, were you expecting this to be a province-wide probe? Because you requested it for Toronto. Did you know that it was going to become province-wide?
Well, I don't want to listen. The decision of the Inspector General is the Inspector General's decision to articulate. I will simply say that I welcome the Inspector General's approach to doing this as a sector-wide issue. I think, it's very readily available when you very readily understandable that when you look at what we're dealing with, that this is something that everybody would want to see dealt with comprehensively.
You said last week you don't want the reputation of 7 officers to tarnish the reputation of the entire force. How do you think a review like this will affect the morale of your officers?
Well, listen, I think when you talk about morale, that goes beyond the role of the Inspector General. The reality is the allegations themselves impact morale, and our members have made that very, very clear, that they feel very strongly about their commitment to serving this city in the best way they possibly can, and they made it clear that these people do not represent who they are. And I and the president of the association went into 12th Division, and as you know, did media last week, to again reiterate that the actions of a few will not define the actions of the many. And our members will continue to deliver services in the best way they possibly can, knowing they're supported not just by the chair, the chief, and the command, but by the association as well.
Chief, did you request that LECA take over the misconduct investigation?
The nuances of the legislation is we notified LECA of what's going on, and LECA responded saying they will take carriage of it.
But that would be an extraordinary step. Normally, the professional standards department would have.
Under the new legislation, it is the framework that exists. It's not necessarily extraordinary. It is the framework under the CSPA.
But for a normal officer accused of something...
that is always a decision of LECA's.
Okay.
And
Can
the
I
new
just
act.
clarify that a little bit? I'm only because I'm trying to save the chief's voice. We need it in the council chamber tomorrow for our budget deliberations. But people are learning for the first time some of the nuances of the Community Safety and Policing Act. And this actually is the normal course of events, that you notify the law enforcement complaints agency when you have what may not be a criminal charge of an officer, but is definitely a charge under the Community Safety and Policing Act. And so you notify them in a very timely way and allow them to negotiate. That's true for the boards or the chief across the province.
But is it normal for them to then take it all over?
Yes, but they're just taking over those specific charges. The investigation still sits with the Inspector General of Policing. So the overall inspection will be done by the IG, as we call them in shorthand. But that law enforcement complaints agency can take each individual officer and review the charge against them under the Act.
Right, so just to be clear, normally if I was a police officer and I got accused of something that violated the Police Services Act, not related to this event, professional standards would investigate it, right? Right.
Yes.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It is our obligation to notify LECA under circumstances of this kind, and we did, and they have decided that they will investigate. We notify LECA as a matter of course based on our internal investigations.
Has there been any discussion at all throughout this of any kind of takeover or supervision by the province in the way we saw with Durham or Thunder Bay at all to deal with this?
No. No, there has not, and it's important that that the province so far is supporting the Inspector General's actions. Doing this thorough inspection is actually, we believe, and this morning we learned that the Inspector General believes as well, and he is appointed by the province, that doing this thorough inspection is really more important because it will result in the policies and procedures that need to be changed, being changed in a legally binding way. That's faster and more binding than even a judicial inquiry. And so they're choosing to let the Inspector General proceed, and we think that is really the best way forward.
Chief, why are you not seeking suspension without paperless officer?
The nuances of the legislation at this point do not allow me to. I will commit that we will continue to review the judicial process related to that member. Should the circumstances change, should my authority be that I can't suspend without pay, I'll consider it then.
Chief Demkiw, seeing as this all happened under your watch, have you considered stepping aside while this probe is underway?
No, I've not. At this point, I will tell you my commitment is to leading the over 8,000 members of this organization who each and every day do an exceptional job serving the City of Toronto. My job has been for some time and will continue to be to support the internal investigations conducted by York Regional Police and now others. And I'll continue in that work in this position.
You talk about not wanting to waste a moment. Can you talk about some of the changes that you've already started to implement after Project South has come to life? Because my understanding is that prior to a few days ago, there were no staff sergeants on platoons at 12th Division. There were actors these days, and I'm hearing that that's now starting to change, that more leadership and supervision is being placed there because of what has happened.
Yeah, as of this morning, I can tell you that there's some very high-performing staff sergeants and sergeants have been reassigned to 12th Division effective immediately. So given the shift patterns, of course, the members will meet them in due course as they come into work, but that is something we did immediately.
Why was that not the case before, Chief?
Well, listen, we're a big organization going through a multi-year hiring plan, and you've heard me talk about throughout the budget cycles of the last few years, there's a need for us to continue to invest in our frontline service delivery capacity and including our ability to have supervision within our ranks. It's important to recognize that a sergeant means a police officer from a police car being promoted. This is what the multi-year hiring plan is about, is to continue to invest so our core service delivery can continue to go in the right direction, which it is, but also to ensure we have the right supervision available to our members who are doing incredible work and increasingly younger in years of service.
Okay, last question.
Can I just add to Moment's question? Thank you. I thank you for that question because it's what is most important about our budget deliberations tomorrow. Because we're into the third year of loading in additional officers. Part of the multi-year hiring plan is that we have known that as soon as you don't have enough officers on the ground, you're actually shortchanging even the supervisory ranks. And this is going to be the first year in which it is built into the budget to make those improvements. Even before we knew of Project South, we knew we needed to build on our supervision ranks and to actually tighten up on the span of control for each supervisor at every rank. And this budget that we will be adopting tomorrow allows the first step in that. And I think we all know now, as a result of Project South, that we must do that and more. And that's important to note for tomorrow.
Okay, last question, please. Chief, in addition to these changes at 12, are there any other safeguards that you're looking to put in the immediate future, considering the IG's report could take months and months to come forward? These recommendations could take a while.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of work that's going to have to happen very, very quickly. We're convening those tables. In fact, the team met throughout the weekend, itemizing the different action items that we need to consider and how to resource and bring together the right stakeholders. Very, very important, though, as we go through these kinds of things, is to make sure we bring 8,000 members with us. And to that end, I want to reiterate the importance of hearing the voice and perspective of those who deliver services in this city admirably, courageously, with integrity every day, and to make sure that the association that represents those members has an opportunity to weigh in as we develop our work plan and go forward on the changes that we need to make. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Why are you the best person to lead this force at this point?
Thank you, everyone, for attending today, and that's the conclusion of this press conference.